Hey guys, so I wanted to talk about love, relationships, romantic relationships, spiritual community, agape, all of that. And it's interesting because Valentine's Day was not initially about romantic love. It was about, well, romance meant something entirely different and it was more like the chivalry and like the hero in the story and more more towards the idea of agape than the romantic love we think of now. And I think so often we expect everything to come from romantic love and we cut ourselves off from the love that is everywhere else because we are constantly looking for our source, what we really are, our source awareness from some other source. And what is source can have no other source. So that's a problem with seeking your happiness from somebody else or seeking it from some circumstance because you are unconditional and you should not settle for anything less than the feeling of that. So I think that sometimes we think that spirituality and spiritual communities are supposed to be a group of like-minded people, and rather than understanding that we are attracting each other and we attract all of the interactions that we have in our life, whether they're negative interactions and we get an offender bender or whatever else happens, we're attracting it. So it's partly taking responsibility for that and also understanding that if you were to create a spiritual community, it would be pure attraction. It would best be based on that because everybody is there because they want to be, and they're not there out of an exclusion of excluding themselves off from any other part of the world or society. So as we are trying to let go of beliefs and trying to trying isn't a good word trying to let go of some of these old patterns of speech and patterns of thinking and really embody, really authentically know that love feels like love, that love is not an idea, that we don't have to act in a way that's inauthentic so that people will like us, but that there is no conflict between loving others and loving ourselves in the direct feeling of love. So many of the problems we thought were there and the walls we thought were blocking ourselves off from connecting with other people are seen to be not an issue at all. And here we are with this complete freedom to be ourselves. Because how could you be anything else? And then the attempt to secure a self in time and the effort that's put into that can simply be dropped. So this has profound ramifications on the interactions that we have. And so what you will find is that sometimes when you connect with people who share this intention, there are all kinds of amazing things that can come up, and amazing just knowing beyond knowing. You start to know things about them that you shouldn't have known before, and it's almost as if there's this type of like synergy, or it's almost like everything just becomes more and more and more exponentially, and you are what each other is asking for. And sometimes when we experience these connections, we mistake them for romance because this is the story, like the original meaning of Valentine's Day. This is the story we've been fed, that fulfillment, that crazy, can't eat, can't sleep, beyond mind, losing my rational thought, which I didn't want to keep on to anyway, kind of falling in love, isn't just reserved for isn't just reserved for a romantic relationship. It's all of you. It's that collapse of separation, the collapse of separation with nature, the collapse of separation with no subject in particular. And you find that when you are in a relationship, or with your parents, or with somebody you know, you think you know them. You think you know what they're like. And this is the problem. This like belief that we know what they are sort of cuts ourselves off from the only knowing that is right now, the now awareness of what they really are. And this has been incredible to see in my own marriage, how I had these patterns of thought of like judging him and noticing flaws about him and feeling bad about things and feeling bad about how it reflected on me and everything, and not directly listening to that feeling. And when I realized that that was it, and I looked on it and I saw how I wanted it to be, and I was honest about how I wanted it to be, I, on a much deeper level, on like how I was experiencing suffering in everyday life, it just totally changed. And then a relationship that I've had since I was 17 years old is always becoming something new. It's new and it's incredible every single day. And this is hilarious. It was only with like spirituality and awakening that I started to appreciate puns and the wordplay thing. Before, I was just totally annoyed with it. I didn't get it. I didn't get any enjoyment out of it, really, except occasionally. And it turns out that my husband is absolutely brilliant with puns. And so now it's just the most hilarious thing. And I just never appreciated that about him. And there it was the whole time. It's amazing to see Jesus saying love thy neighbor. Like, man, that's all it right there. And your neighbor, like, judging them because they're not spiritual or wanting to have a spiritual community, excluding your neighbors and around you, cuts yourself off from what the love that your neighbor really is. And who is your neighbor but what is here right now? And it's amazing that when we start to really enjoy being alone, really be okay with being alone, and realize that being alone was not what we thought it was, it's only then that we can really enjoy our interactions with people. And it's, or you could say it in the reverse as well. It's only when we really enjoy our interactions with people that we can really enjoy being alone. And one is not better than the other, nor is one different from the other. Here I am, totally alone in the woods, making a YouTube video, talking. Am I alone? No.